You are not alone. You are not alone. Please listen to what I'm saying. Listen to these words. You are not alone. You found this video because you're searching like crazy to figure out what's going on in your life, what's going on with your relationship, and you are feeling alone. You are feeling completely confused and sad and depressed and bitter and angry and aggravated, and you are just at your wit's end about your situation with the person that you are dealing with. Trust me. Listen to me. You are not alone. That is the first thing I want to say in my very first video, my very first presentation of any kind when it comes to this subject. I'm going to get to what this is about, this channel, and what you found, but I just hope you stay with me. Just hang on there for just a few minutes. Listen to what I have to say, and I really believe that you're going to get something out of this. This is a channel that is geared towards people like myself who have been dealing with a narcissist for a long time, for a very, very, very long time, well before we even knew what a narcissist was. You've been all over the internet. You've been watching video after video after video. You've been reading. You've been maybe talking to people, maybe a counselor. You have just been immersed in this world of narcissism, something that, again, you probably never knew existed until you finally started to try to figure out what is going on in your relationship. If that's you, then you and I are in the same boat. So therefore, you are not alone. My name is Steve, and I discovered that I am living with a narcissist about 1.5 years ago. And I thought about starting a podcast or doing a YouTube channel to share my experiences, but I just wasn't ready at the time. And I wasn't sure if I had anything to offer. But now I do believe it's time for me to share my experiences, what I'm going through, what I have learned, and hopefully, my true prayer is that it can help somebody else. When I was trying to find some insight or some information on the subject, and specifically how it has to do with me and where I am with my narcissist, I just discovered there was nothing out there. Specifically, I have 2 young children, and the last thing I want to do is to get a divorce and do what I would believe would be traumatic harm to my kids, because kids really do need to see their parents together. Now, I know my situation is going to be a lot different than many others, so I'm not saying that this is a one-size-fits-all type of approach to narcissism and what I'm dealing with, but I do believe that a lot of us are in the same boat, and a lot of us have the same goals in mind and the same convictions, specifically about marriage. You know, I believe that God has blessed us with marriage, and I think He wants us to hold on to it with everything we've got, and I think He wants us to pour our life and our soul into our partner, but at the same time, I know that He does not want us to have to go through the pain and suffering of dealing with somebody. So without getting too deep into all that, because I'll be doing plenty of videos and talks about what it goes into a relationship when it comes to narcissism and the dynamics of having children. I do want to make sure that the person who's listening to this video right now, that they will come away and say, you know what, this is something that I want to be involved in. I want to hear what this person, Steve, has to say, and hopefully they can, hopefully you'll be able to get something out of it. Before I go any further, I just want to also say that I am not a trained professional. I did not go to school for psychology. I am not a counselor of any kind. I am just a guy who has for decades, since I was very young, have been dealing with narcissism in my family in one form or another. And it has taken its toll, but what is really great is that once I figured out what is going on with me, I've been able to start taking the steps to getting healthy. Here is what you're dealing with. You are dealing with somebody that 1 minute is just fine and is a person that you've always dreamed of being with. You enjoy their company. They're funny. They laugh. They make you feel good. And then the next moment, before you know it, you're getting hit over the head with criticism and put downs, and they are suddenly not talking to you, or they're moody, or they're doing things that are absolutely destructive and frustrating, and you don't understand where it came from. And to make matters even worse, they say it's your fault. You're the reason why they're acting this way. You're the reason why, they have done the things that they've done. They've spent the money that they've spent. They have made the comments that they've made. It's your fault. And the fact that you're upset about what they've done just shows that you truly don't have love for them. And the cycle, and around it goes, and it's so deflating, because one moment everything seems fine, the next moment everything is just a disaster again. But lo and behold, just when you've just about had it, you want to leave, you are contemplating ways of what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, what you're going to say to them, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And in fact, it's so fine that you don't even understand how they could forget how upset and how aggravated and how sideways they got over whatever situation it was. They suddenly have just completely forgotten about everything that you guys were dealing with, and everything's fine. It's like they forgot. It's like they just turned a switch and everything's fine again. And, this is the life that you live. This is what you're going through on a day-to-day basis. And it's why you are now on the YouTube channels. That is your reality. You are now immersed in it. You're obsessed with it. It's the only thing that's going on in your life right now, is just trying to keep it all together, keep the pieces together, try to figure things out, try to figure out ways of operating, ways of responding, ways of acting, and trying to get through to this person that what they're doing is unacceptable, what they're doing is hurtful, what they're doing is causing a lot of pain, and that's really your cause in life right now. That is the cross that you have to bear, is dealing with this relationship, and you're exhausted. You are tired. You are not the same person you were a long time ago when you used to value yourself. I am not going to get into the psychology of a narcissist and the dynamic of a narcissist and the person that you are in this video. Instead, I am going to simply say to you, number one, you are not alone. Number two, you are worthy of love. And number three, ultimately, truly, God is in control. He will see you through, and you can have hope from narcissism. You absolutely can. I'm speaking from experience, at least to the point that I am in my relationship, where I have come from and where I am going. I was going through the same things you were going through, just the confusion and the anger and the frustration and the insanity of being in a relationship with someone that just doesn't seem to make any sense. They seem to have no reason. They seem to have no feelings. Sometimes they just don't seem like they love you at all. I had the same situation going on, and I just didn't understand what was going on. Where was this coming from? And I liken it to having some sort of physical ailment. You have a pain in your elbow, and you've had it for months, maybe years, and you just can't figure out why this pain in your elbow comes and goes. Sometimes it comes when it's cold outside. Sometimes it comes when you've maybe been doing something, a little too much activity, and you figure, well, it must be this or it must be that, and you look online and you maybe go see a couple doctors, and they kind of give you some possibilities of what it is. Maybe it's early onset of arthritis or whatever, but you never really get a concrete answer. And so the pain comes and goes, and man, as bad as the pain is, what's worse is just not knowing what this is. Finally, you go to a specialist, and a specialist tells you, got your MRI back, you have flambosis tracheitis. I made that up. But the flambosis tracheitis is exactly what you have, and it's confirmed, and the diagnosis is not good. It's going to spread to your other joints, and your pain is going to worsen over the years as this gangliositis, whatever it was I just said, gets worse. As bad as the diagnosis is, finally understanding what is causing that pain releases you from the torment of being in the dark about what that pain was. It's the same thing with narcissism. When you finally realize what the hell is going on in your relationship, why this person is acting the way they are acting, why they do what they do, why you feel the way you feel, you will have a sense of liberation. You will also have a sense of sadness and disappointment because you'll realize, like that diagnosis, that it's not going to get better. It's actually going to get worse. But at least now you know. And now you know how to attack the problem, or at least try to cope with the problem. For instance, the ailment that I just described, that I just made up, you will learn not to partake in certain activities. Maybe you'll learn to eat a little bit differently. Maybe your diet will help. Add more zinc or something to your diet, right? And it'll help manage the pain of that imaginary make-believe condition that I just made up. As with that, with narcissism, when you discover what type of relationship you are in, you will start to be able to take the necessary steps. If you decide to stay in the relationship, you'll be able to take the necessary steps to alleviate some of the frustration, some of the anguish, some of the confusion, a lot of the confusion, really. You will realize that you aren't going to have the relationship that you always hope to have. That's not, a very fun thing to hear, but finally, you'll be able to start the healing process and learn about who you are over and above who they are. That's my story. I finally realized what I was dealing with, and once I did, aside from the disappointment, I was finally freed from the confusion and the mystery that surrounded me in my relationship that I'm currently in, and it also shed a light on the relationships that I've had in the past with other narcissists. It's amazing, really, quite honestly, because then once you finally learn what's going on, you can start to look back and say, oh, this person that I was in a relationship with, they did this, and I acted this way, and this is how this relationship ended, and now I can see why they did this and why they would say this. It's really stunning, and it's almost, gosh, I hate to say it's almost fun. It's certainly not fun, but it's enlightening. And when you gain knowledge about something, it really is fulfilling. Even though the knowledge, again, is not necessarily the greatest thing to discover. This channel is going to be about coping in your narcissist relationships when you have decided you do not want to leave it. You've decided it is best to stay in the relationship for whatever reason. I know that there are many different types of relationships out there. There are different degrees of narcissism. This is about someone who, like myself, has convictions. I have spiritual convictions about marriage. I have convictions about those who are in my lives, specifically my children, what I want to see for them. And so therefore, I have decided that I'm going to I'm going to stick it out, and I'm still learning along the way, but it is definitely something that is a path that I've decided to take, and I've learned so much just in the last year and a half. Oh my goodness. The amount of blowouts that we've had, or the amount of frustrating conversations, the amount of actions that my narcissist has taken has reduced dramatically since I've implemented certain strategies and certain behaviors in my life. And is it great? No, it's not. Still not great. It's not the promised land in any way, shape, or form, but it is vastly different from the way it was 2 or 3 years ago. And that's what this channel is going to be about. It's going to be about things that I've learned, things that I think you can incorporate into your life. And as we go through this together, it is comforting to know for you, as it is for me, that we are not alone. You are not alone. I am not alone. Narcissism is an epidemic. There are so many people out there that are narcissists, and there are so many people out there that are dealing with narcissists, whether it's at work, at home, just even out in public. You are dealing with narcissists every day. So you better learn how to deal with them so you can be a healthier, more productive person and be a blessing to others. That's all this channel is about. It's going to continue to, grow and change as we go along, but that is the main theme, that you can have hope from narcissism. You truly can. You truly, truly can. So if this sounds like something that you might want to be a part of, just subscribe, and also, comment below. Let me know if anything I said had any impact, if it resonated with you at all. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know that there are others that are benefiting from, some things that I've learned in my life, and that to me would be ultimately a blessing. That's it for now. Most importantly, please know you are worthy of love.